So I have 4 kids. The youngest one is 6, and most of what he learns, he kind of learns from his older brothers. And he wanted to know why everyone in LA had such nice cars compared to other places that he's seen, and wanted to know why there were all these nice cars here. And his older brothers informed him that when a man has a tiny little penis, he has to he compensates for that by getting like a really nice expensive car. And he kind of took this, and he says, and that's LA's different. There's a lot of men with little penises. And I took them all to see the Pompeii exhibit, and right at the entrance there's this big Roman statue, and it's nude, and like most Roman statues, like a little tiny thing there. And he saw this, and he said for everybody here, see, that guy must have a really nice car. And he. So but he believes everything everyone tells him, and he believes in the tooth fairy too. And he lost a tooth, and like most people, you put the tooth under the pillow, and that was our system. And we, the deal was that for the first tooth, you get $1, and then the next tooth you get $1.50, and then it keeps going up by 50 cents. And this was his 5th tooth, so he was going to get $3. But he wasn't happy with $3, so he wrote the tooth fairy this long letter explaining why the tooth. He knows that the market rate was $3, but he argued that the tooth was really worth $6 because it was in mint condition, and most importantly, it was very, very sharp. It was actually his sharpest tooth, and he wouldn't really be able to eat without it anymore. And this would be a handicap, and he needed to be compensated for this. And he put this note under the pillow, and my wife and I, we got the tooth, and we read the note. We said, "Oh, that's really sweet. Let's give him a little more money." So we gave him $5 instead of $3. And the next morning he wakes up, and he checks, and instead of being like happy, he's like really angry because he was expecting $6, and he goes to my wife and he says, "You stole $1 from me, the tooth fairy." The tooth fairy left me, it was $6. And she said, "I didn't. That's just what the tooth fairy left you." He said, "No, you're a liar." They have this huge kind of confrontation, and he gets really vicious. He says, "You have some nerve, like stealing from a little kid like me, who has no way to support themselves except maybe for losing teeth, and you take this $1." And she just got more and more angry at him, and this confrontation just escalated. And finally, she wouldn't budge. She's very stubborn. So then he comes to me and like the same thing again, I want my $1. And I said, "No, this is what the tooth fairy left you." He says, "No way, the tooth fairy would have left, if there was less money, it would have left a note or a receipt or something, saying that there was $1," because he's like really believes in the tooth fairy. He says, "This is not how the tooth fairy operates," and he's saying I stole his money, and then he calls me a Jew. We're Jewish, so I guess I wasn't too upset about that. And this just goes on and on. And finally, I just get so angry with him, I sit him down, and I say, "We're really going to end this thing." And I say, "Who do you think puts the money under the pillow?" And he thinks he's got this all locked up, basically. It's like a court case, and it's open shut. He says, "The tooth fairy." And I'm so mad that I go, "No, there is no tooth fairy. Your mother puts the money under the table, under the pillow." And I can see like this blank look on his face and all the color drain. And it's like, oh shit, what have I done I've ruined his whole childhood. But it's too late. I can't turn back. And I destroyed his childhood, but I won the confrontation. I think when he grows up, he's going to need a really nice car. Thank you.
David.